Joining me right now is Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty. It was his amendment. He moved to include this amendment in the $460 billion spending package. Senator, thanks very much for being here. I want you to tell us about your amendment. It was barring illegal aliens from being counted in allotting congressional seats and electoral college votes. Sounds practical. What happened?
It certainly does sound practical, Maria, and I think most Americans are shocked to find out that today illegal migrants are used in the calculation of the number of people in a given state to allocate congressional districts and electoral college votes to that state. Laura's exactly right. Democrats are basically harvesting electoral power on the backs of these illegal migrants. It shouldn't be happening. And when I put a simple vote forward that only citizens can be counted for the purposes of allocating congressional districts and electoral votes, the Democrats just went nuts. Chuck Schumer threatened to shut the government down. We ground it down to the very last hour. Finally, I think they had an important event that they needed to attend. They agreed to put it to the floor for a vote. And as you said, every single Democrat voted to not allow just citizens alone to be counted, but to also include the counting of illegal migrants. Now think about where people are fleeing in this nation. Citizens are leaving New York, they're leaving Illinois, they're leaving California. Where are the sanctuary cities located? New York City, Chicago, San Francisco, Los Angeles. They're actually creating these magnets so they can backfill and create more, quote, bodies to count, so that they can get more electoral votes. And we got one of the we got a U.S. congressman from Brooklyn, Yvette Clarke, said the quiet part out loud just the other day. She said, I need these illegal migrants for purposes of redistricting. And you know what's so rich, Maria? Her district, the same one that Chuck Schumer used to have when he served in the Congress, her district is the school to go home and study Zoom because they needed that schoolhouse to house illegal migrants. That's what's happening here in America. That's the motive behind the crime at our border.
Well, I mean, this is disturbing, Senator. You're an elected official. Is there nothing else you can do about this? We are headed for a presidential election. Do you worry that the illegal population in America will vote in this upcoming election?
It's a great concern there, that, as Laura mentioned in the clip earlier. States that don't require any sort of ID, that type of thing. You know, there was a commission that was put in place back in the 90s, led by President Jimmy Carter and by Secretary of State James Baker, two highly respected individuals. They identified several things that led to a deep concern in voter integrity. Some of those are being deployed right now by the Democrats. Mail-out ballots, ballot harvesting, no voter ID. All of these subject elections to great concerns regarding voter integrity, and that's exactly what the Democrats are pushing. And then when you think about the fact that they were able to count illegal migrants in terms of holding on to congressional seats and electoral votes, it makes it, you know, they win even before they've gotten these people to vote. So the power of those citizens, if you will, who do vote in states that have a high proportion of illegal migrants, they have more power in states than states like Tennessee, where we don't have such a high proportion of illegal migrants. That violates the principle of one person, one vote here in America.
So is this why Joe Biden is apologizing for calling Laken Riley's murderer illegal? I mean, look what just happened this weekend. Former President Trump meeting with Laken Riley's family at his Georgia rally on Saturday, as President Biden was on another network apologizing for calling a murderer illegal. Watch this.
I shouldn't have used illegal. It's undocumented. I'm not going to treat any of these people with disrespect. Look, they built the country. The reason our economy is growing. We have to control the border and more orderly flow, but I don't share his view at all.
So you regret using that word?
Yes.
That is unbelievable.
They built the country. Okay, a murderer who murdered a 22-year-old Georgia nursing student who is illegal and broke into this country illegally and then committed crimes and then committed murder. We're supposed to be sorry for calling him illegal now?
It's
we have to
unbelievable.
call him a newcomer, undocumented?
There could not be a sharper contrast, Maria. You have President Trump meeting with Laken Riley's parents. President Trump actually imposed significant sanctions on the Maduro regime in Venezuela. President Biden has lifted those sanctions. When Venezuelans come to our border, we have no information on them whatsoever. The Biden proposition is wave them in. We've seen crimes right here in New York City by Venezuelan gangs, beating up police officers and let go with no bail, fleeing to California, no consequence. This Venezuelan criminal comes to New York, commits a crime, is again released on bail, goes to Georgia, and commits the most heinous of crimes at all. And here's Joe Biden going on air apologizing for calling him illegal, insulting Lakin's family. Thank God we've got President Trump, and I know that Lakin's family feels appreciated by him, even though they were completely disrespected by Joe Biden.
But it's just extraordinary that you can't even get your amendment through.
It's amazing. It's amazing. But again, Maria, I think that this proves the motive behind the crime at our border. They want these illegal migrants in here to create more electoral power for them in their blue states. They're basically creating sanctuary cities to be a magnet so these people will disproportionately flow to these blue states. They're shipping them there as rapidly as they can. Since Joe Biden came into office, the estimates are as high as 10 million people that have come in here. That would be 13 extra congressional districts if you allocated them the right way. This is a tremendous amount of power that the Democrats are bringing in. They're giving their voters, the blue state voters, disproportionately more power than they are giving my voters in Tennessee.
Well, what about the budget? The White House is set to release this year's budget today, and the president's wish list promises to lower costs for families, he claims. He also claimed he's going to reduce the deficit by $3 trillion. He wants to raise taxes on the highest earners, and he says protect and strengthen Medicare and Social Security. I just want to say that at the State of the Union, the president said, I've already cut the deficit by over $1 trillion, and the Committee for a Responsible Federal Budget says that is absolutely not true. More than the entirety of the fall in the deficit can be explained by the COVID relief money going away, expiring. So how are we supposed to believe that this is going to cut the deficit by $3 trillion if he just said a mistruth at the State of the Union that he already cut $1 trillion?
Yeah, I think this is just a continuation of that surreal State of the Union address where he's gone into full-on politics mode. This budget, we just had a preliminary look at it, is nothing but partisan politics. He's talking about, closing the budget up and getting the rich to pay their fair share. The top 1% pay more than they've ever paid in history. And Joe Biden still wants to continue to tax away, earnings more and more and more. He's going to disincentivize growth and investment here in America is what he's going to do. He's going to continue to cripple the economy. It will be more inflationary, I can assure you. And he's doing nothing to secure our nation and make families like Laken Riley feel like they don't have to worry about their child anymore.
Wow, these are really disturbing times, Senator. We're going to be watching your work. We so appreciate your time this morning. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Maria.
Senator Bill Hagerty this morning in New York. Quick break.